Hey everybody, Backpack Hack here, coming at you with another trail tip, and this video is going to be about what I call my BTN kit, my better than nothing kit. I wanted a kit that was comprehensive enough to give me something that I could use in just about any situation. Now, you can't prepare for all situations in a compact kit, but I didn't want a kit so small that I started leaving things out. Now, I've seen a lot of people do survival kits with Altoid tins, and some of them are absolutely smashing. I mean, they're fantastically built, they're well thought out, and they all fit, which is great for going in your shirt pocket. But you can't get a whole lot into these little things. So I wanted something a little bit more comprehensive. However, I didn't want to get anything so big that I ended up having to carry it in a pack. So the first thing I thought of is I'm going to write down everything that I want in this kit, collect it, and then come up with a container of some sort to put it in. And you'll be surprised in what I actually use. So first off, let's get started with what is in the kit, and then I'll go over what I put it in. I wanted this kit to cover 6 basic areas: water, food, shelter, first aid, fire, and navigation. And I've got a kit that will do that. Absolutely, though, the basic bare necessities. This isn't a really comprehensive kit by no means. There are things that I could add to it, but for the size that I want to carry, this pretty much maxes me out in the volume capacity of my kit. So I see a lot of commercially available kits out there, and they seem to be lacking in one of 2 areas. First off, they lack in a specific one of those categories. They don't have anything for water, or they don't have anything for navigation, or they don't have anything for shelter. Others are lacking in simple quality. They just use the cheapest thing that they can get because they're trying to get that kit to a price point. They're trying to sell the kits. They aren't really interested in whether it works or not. They just want the cheapest stuff so they can make a price point value on it so they can get it out the door. They want to get it to retail below $20 or retail below $50. I decided not to go with that route. I decided to go with a little bit more quality material, especially when it counts, because when you deploy a kit like this, you don't want the cheap crap. You want quality items because your life might be depending on it. So you don't want the cheap stuff. You want to go with quality. So let's get the camera in here and I'll show you exactly what I've got. Here is everything that is in this kit. I have water, food, shelter, first aid, fire, navigation, and then some general all-purpose survival and bushcraft items. So let's get into the details of each one of these one by one. I'll show you exactly what's in all these categories and why I chose them. These are the items that I have for the water department. Obviously, a kit this small is not going to be able to carry water, so I decided that I was going to carry something that would treat the water. And so obviously you can see right here, here's some water flavorings. And the reason I will carry those, I'll get to in a second here, but let's open this little package up and show you what is in this Ziploc bag. Here we have an Aquamira Frontier Tactical Straw. This is not actually the absolute best in terms of water filtration, but it's better than nothing. Hence the name of this kit, it's better than nothing. It comes with this filter and the straw, and this is actually the bag that it came in, and I've simply rolled it up and tied it up, and you can use this. This is a good heavy-duty Ziploc bag. You can use this for water collection, and you basically use it as a drinking cup as well. And this is the package it comes in. There is that. This is a Ziploc bag. It is not intended for water collection or storage or anything like that. And I'll get to the reason of why I have this in this kit later on. I also have some Aquatabs. I have 4 of them. And I also copied off the instructions because the instructions are different depending on what you have for a water source. So I carry a copy of those instructions in it. And if you're wondering what this is what's called a lemon wedge filter. It is like a little shower cap that you would put on a small animal like a cat or a small dog. And what I use this for is a pre-filter to this filter. I can put it on here, and if I'm having to drink out of very turbid water that's got a lot of material in it, you know, bits and pieces of grass and leaves and other debris. This makes a good pre-filter to get rid of a lot of that large chunky stuff before it even gets into the expensive filter to clog it up. Now this filter will only do up to 30 gallons. You may not think that's much, but in terms of a simple 12 to 24 hour kit, that is more than enough capacity. So that right there is everything that's in the water section. Moving on to the dining room, I've got a couple of energy bars. These are real small ones. I buy them at a local grocery store, as well as 3 SlimJims. Granted, this is not a comprehensive meal, but it does get some nutrition and some material into my stomach, so I don't feel as hungry. Got some protein here, and you know, these aren't Cliff bars, but like I say, better than nothing. But that's the food department. Moving on to shelter. Obviously, nothing more than a simple space blanket. 52 by 84, I think, is a standard. And as much as I abhor these, like I say, this is a better than nothing kit, so this is better than nothing. It can cut the wind. I can use it as a reflector if I have a fire and I'm sheltering in someplace for the night. I can use it as a ground cloth. There's lots of uses. As much as I hate these things, it's better than nothing. In the first aid department, I have 2 tablet towels, and if you want to see more about those, watch this video up here, as well as a little pill bottle that I have 4 Advil pain relievers in, nothing more. And this Ziploc bag, I have 2 bandages and a small single-use antibiotic ointment. I have some, this is a Imodium, generic Imodium, a lens cleaner, a sunscreen wipe, a bug repellent wipe, a utility towelette. This can be used to clean your hands or possibly even clean a wound. I mean, it's not a sanitary, you know, it's not a sterilization, but it would clean a wound in a pinch, as well as a poison ivy wipe. And that right there is everything in the first aid department. On to the fire department. I have a Bic mini lighter, and I've also gone to the trouble of at least doing a little bit of my emergency prepper lighter modifications. I did not do the little piece of string on the bottom, but I did block off the valve with a tie wrap and took the safety off. I've also got 10 strike anywhere kitchen matches, not strike on the box, strike anywhere, so I could light this probably on this table if I needed to. Got 10 of those, and I've wrapped them with a piece of tie wire just to keep them from rattling around loose in there. And if you've never seen one of these, I find these at a local gun show. There's a vendor that has all sorts of knickknacks, and this is basically a lighter redesigned, reconfigured. It looks like a little tiny whiskey flask, but it's actually a fire starter, and they're called Eternal Match or an Endless Match. There is a reservoir in here that you put lighter fluid in. There is a ferro rod here along the side, and when you pull the cap off, there is a striker attached to the cap that has a little bit of wick material, and when you put it in here, it soaks up that lighter fluid. And so all you need to do and you've got a lighter. You've got an Eternal Match. I get these for like $4 when I buy them in bulk, and I buy several of them at a time, so that's $4. But that is the fire department. Navigation, nothing more than a button compass. Now, sharp-eyed observers will look at this and say, boy, that sure looks like a Suunto Clipper. But if you look real close at the dial, it's not branded as a Suunto. It's actually, I think, a knockoff. It has the exact same dimensions, the same size, the same weight. It's just the dial is different. It looks, and for all intents and purposes, it is a Suunto Clipper. But I found these at a website called Country Calm, and I'll put a link in the description below. These are 1/4 the price. These are like $5 a piece, and so I ordered a couple of them. I'm not a fan of button compasses, but again, better than nothing, and it is quite accurate. You can see, and that actually is north, so it is quite accurate for as small of a compass that it is. Some of the other items that I'm going to have are pretty generic survival items. I've got about 3 foot of duct tape. This is a simple needle and thread. And what I did was I took a stick pen, took the tube of the stick pen, cut it down, put a notch in each end. Then took about 5-6 foot of thread, threaded the needle, tied a knot on the end of the thread, and then put it down through that notch, pulled it tight, and then started wrapping it around that tube until I got to the other end and had enough thread left over that I could slide it into the notch on the other end and put the needle up into the tube. And then I put the whole thing into a drinking straw, and that is my emergency sewing kit. I've got about 15-16 foot of 550 paracord, a standard bandana, as well as a Ziploc bag here. And I call this my hardware store. It has just a little bit of everything in it. In fact, I'm not even going to open it up. I've got a single edge razor blade. I've got some key rings. I've got some twist tie material, safety pins, bobby pins. I've got a P38 can opener. The last thing that I have for this kit, and I wasn't going to put these in here, but there was room once I got it assembled, and that is a knife and a flashlight. This is a Gerber EAB knife. It is a knife that uses a utility knife blade. So if nothing else, I can take and undo the screw, flip this around, and I've got a new edge, or I can simply source a new blade for this if necessary. And since it has a money clip, I put a little bit of cash in there for emergencies. This is a great little knife, and I can source these locally for $10. When I decided on a flashlight, I decided I was going to get something that took a AAA flashlight. So this is a Maglite Solitaire, and it's a nice little flashlight. And the reason I wanted AAA is so I could either source batteries locally if I needed to, or use one of my rechargeables. It came with this lanyard on it with this other split key ring on it. So I found at a party store, local party store, a little 4-inch glow stick, and this one's actually white. It's not the green color that you're used to. This one actually glows white. Got a little bit of a bluish or purplish tint to it, but it's still a white light, and so it's a little bit more accurate in terms of color rendition. Now, if you're wondering what I put all this in, I had a lot of options, but the first thing I wanted to do is I will give you a little hint, is collect everything for your kit first and then find a container that will fit it. Don't try to buy a container and put everything that you want in it, because the container is either going to be too big or too small. Collect everything that you want in whatever kit, whether it's a survival kit like this, a bug out bag, a get home bag, whatever kind of kit that you're building. Get the components first and then make the container fit the components. Now, my first thought when I was putting this together is I wanted to get something like this. This is simply a Cordura carry bag. It's got a long enough strap on it. You can use it as a fanny pack or over the shoulder. It's got several zippers and the compartments and everything in it. But something like this would tend to get shuffled around in my vehicle. And that's what I wanted to carry these in, is in my vehicles. And it would just get lost under the seat or behind the seat. And so when I really needed it, it would be gone. I obviously didn't want anything so small that it would be an Altoids tin. So I needed something about this size. And then I thought about those little plastic boxes you see in the sporting goods stores that have the mechanical latches and the rubber ring around it to make them watertight. And I thought that would be great for collecting water above and beyond the container that is in the Aquamira that it comes in. But then I went one step further, and I decided to get something rather unorthodox. A Stanley Adventure 2-cup cook set. That's right. I can get these at a local store for $15. And although I don't have the cups in it, those things I just don't use. I mean, I've got one of my truck camping gear, but other than that, I don't use them. I was able to fit all of this in here with a couple of exceptions. First off, the straw for the Aquamira straw is 6 inches, and these things are only like 5.8. So a simple cut with a knife, cut 1/3 of an inch off of this straw, and it will fit. Now I cut it long enough that the straw has to be in the center of the lid, because the lid has a depression here. So if you want this straw to fit anywhere, you're going to have to cut it down a little bit farther to fit into here. But I cut it a little bit long, and I just make sure that it fits in the center of this kit. And so it all fits in there. Now, the reason I took a 1 gallon Ziploc bag and I cut it in half and I resealed this into my impulse sealer. All this will fit in here, and the reason I carry this is because even though all this fits in here, what do I do with all this if I'm using this? I can use this to collect water, I can use that to boil water, I can use it to cook a meal. If I find a can of soup or something, or if I find a backpacking meal, I can boil the water in it if I need to, start a fire with a fire starting kit, boil water. It is somewhat of a Faraday cage, although whatever electronics are in the flashlight are the only things that really need to be protected. It is somewhat of a Faraday cage. I mean, it's not a perfect Faraday cage. And I might go so far as to try to polish the inside and make it a signal mirror. But that's the purpose of this bag, is so all this stuff fits in here when I'm using this. So that is the kit, and if you don't believe that all this fits in here, since I have 2 vehicles, here's the other one. And you can see there is basically 2 of everything, and it all fits in this canister. So I've duplicated everything. There is another reason why I use the Stanley 2-cup Adventure Cook Set for this kit, and that goes directly back to the water treatment. I use Aquatabs because they work in 30 minutes. The instructions state that you put them in, mix it up for 10 minutes, and then let it set for 30 minutes. So within 40 minutes, you've got potable water. I've seen some tabs that take up to 4 to 5, even 6 hours. That is a long time to wait when you're thirsty. So I chose Aquatabs. However, when I looked at the instructions, if you're using a natural source like a river or a stream or a lake, it says to add it to, and if I'm trying to read this upside down, 1/5 of a gallon. You do the math, you come up with 25.6 cups. And the reason that is significant is because there's 20 ounces right there. So 25.6 would be up in here. So basically 1 tablet per container. So I could fill this 4 times with river water or lake water and use a tablet, and I could fill this up 4 times. So I've got 4/5 of a gallon of treated water just with these tablets without using my water filter. It just worked out that way. But that is one advantage of using this container, is because the Aquatabs, 1 tablet with a container of river water, 1-to-1 ratio, there's no conversion, there's nothing to memorize. Just put one of these in one of these and you're good to go. Now, when I put this kit together originally, I wasn't going to have a knife or a flashlight in them because I always carry a knife and a flashlight. However, when I got this kit put together and I found this to put it in, I had enough room for the flashlight and the knife. So I went ahead and threw them in. Now, some of you are going to say, you're missing a signal mirror, you're missing a whistle, you're missing a cable saw, you're missing a fishing kit, you're missing snare wire, you're missing all this stuff. Yeah, but I have to realize that I'm limited to the space that I have in here, and everything in here packs pretty tight. If I put anything more in here, I'm going to have to take some of this stuff out, and it's a choice of what do I want to take out. So this is the stuff that I'm going to use. I don't have a fishing kit because I'm not a fisherman. It's not that I'm anti-fishing, it's just something that has never interested me. I've tried fishing when I was a kid. It was just, and I never picked up on it. Snaring wildlife, I'm not a bushcrafter. I mean, if I get hungry enough, I could probably take a squirrel or a rabbit and cook it up and eat it, but I'm just not, I'm not David Canterbury, okay? So putting those things in would, definitely increase the value of this kit. However, I can't fit it in here, and I'd have to find something else to put it in. And since I can source these locally for $15, I think this is a good enough kit. Hopefully this has given you some ideas. As for the cost, because I'm not putting in cheap stuff. Like I say, this is $15 alone. The flashlight was $10. The knife was $10. By the time you add up all the little bits and pieces, I probably have close to $150 in this. So it's not a kit that's not going to be available commercially. You know, a few people have said, you ought to start selling these. Well, you know, if I'm going to put a quality compass in, I'm going to put a Suunto in here. So there's like $40, $50 right there in just these items. And so by the time you get the rest of this, you got $150, $160, and it's just out of the price of what most people are willing to pay. And if they have that kind of money, they're going to do exactly like what I did, is make their own kit. So I've got a list of everything I have down in here. If it's available online, like the button compasses, I'll have a list of everything that I have in here in the description below. You can modify it if you want. If you don't want the can opener, if you decide not to put the hardware kit in and put a fishing kit in instead, that's fine with me. If you don't like SlimJims or you don't want the energy bars, you can take those out and put your signal mirror in and your whistle and things like that. But this is my kind of my grab and go vehicle kit that I keep in my vehicles. So this is Backpack Hat coming at you with this trail tip. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment on my videos. Be safe out there, and I'll see you out on the trail.